What's up, everyone? How's it going? Ryan here, back with you another episode of This Week in Hearthstone, episode number 6. Kind of a big news week, but not what we expected. There was only, I think, one card that was announced from the last episode. If you guys haven't listened to the last episode already, we did a special episode on Monday morning, which went over everything that was announced. Basically, TLDR is Rostacon's Rumble's new expansion. 135 cards are coming out. There's a new single player mode, all that good stuff. Go listen to that previous episode. Didn't want to jam pack it with this episode just because of just in case cards came out or like a bunch of new cards came out, we would have to do like such a long episode. Just FYI as well, the expansion does come out on December 4th, I believe, is when Rostacon's Rumble comes out. And because of that, the episodes for probably the next month or so are going to be a little bit longer than usual. So keep that in mind as well, that they will be a little bit longer. But I believe card reviews are probably going to start next week, considering the fact that we only have a few weeks until the expansion came out. But today we got a ton of news. We only got one new card announced, but other than that, the news we got was just some small, minor stuff. So, before we really get started in today's episode, let me just remind you guys again, if you're a new or returning listener, that we are on Spotify and iTunes. You can go check us out on either one of those sites. We're on other various podcasting forums as well, but those are the two main ones that you guys listen to us on. Reminder to follow those, follow the podcast on Spotify or iTunes. The reason why being that you will be automatically prompted with a notification that a new episode is out and be able to download it offline as well. Also, another reminder to just review the podcast if you guys can. It helps with our SEO, and for newer listeners who don't already follow on Twitch or on Twitter, that you guys can, they can find it organically through Spotify or iTunes. Lastly, just wanted to say that we do stream and record the episode every single Thursday evening, 9:30 p.m. PST, at twitch.tv/Ryan Kubo. That's RYANKUBO, all lowercase, no space, so it's all one word, all lowercase. If you guys ever want to come to the chat and hang out, see what I look like, and etc., on that. So, yeah. Anyway, let us get started now that those announcements are out of the way. The show notes in the description are a bit out of order, and I apologize for that. Future episodes, I will try to organize them a bit better. So we're going to kind of go out of order. But first up, Hearthstone patch 12.4 is now out. So a new Hearthstone patch has been pushed to the Battle.net client. It should be out as of this recording on mobile or on iPad, and obviously on desktop. Keep in mind there is a golden animation bug where it seems like golden animation cards are not working on mobile, at least. Desktop, from what I noticed, it didn't seem to be an issue, so there'll probably be a small hotfix coming through. So a couple of things that came out in this announcement, and this will kind of spill over into the other announcements that we have. So, first up is the Warcraft 3 Reforged that was announced at BlizzCon. Their pre-order card back is already in the client, so if you do pre-order the Warcraft 3 Reforged, you will get that right now, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool little card back, if I do say so myself. Its flavor text says, "'Twas the third time Azeroth was engulfed in the chaos of war, and by now they were exceedingly good at it. Acquired from the Warcraft 3 Reforged promotional." So, remember to pre-order that so that you can get that card back. Second up, we do have the Hearthstone Global Games card back, the one that we've been kind of talking about for the last month or so, where if you cheered 2,500 or more bits on twitch.tv/playhearthstone, you would get the Good Cheer card back. Unfortunately, this is too late for anyone who's just hearing this now. You cannot cheer now on Play Hearthstone and get this card back, unfortunately. But if you did already, the card back is also available for you guys as well. Lastly, too, the second to last, I guess, card backs that came out. The card back for the pre-order you get from the new expansion, Rastakan's Rumble, is also out now. So if you do pre-order those bundles, or one of them, or both, you will be able to get the card back and utilize it now. And that's the same as the Shaman Hero that came out as well, King Rastakan. And I guess lastly, the December 2018 card back is now in the client as well for you guys to check out. You just need to win 5 games in ranked play in December of 2018, and it's called the Frost Wolf card back. Flavor text says the Frost Wolf or clan trains Frost Wolves as loyal companions. What a crazy coincidence. It's a pretty generic, pretty basic card back. I personally don't care about it at all. But besides the card back announcements, the client was updated where they announced the new classic cards that can now be opened in classic packs or be crafted with dust. This was an article that probably came out a few months ago that they did say and mention that they were adding 4 new classic cards to the classic set, and those are out right now. We got a epic for mage called Icicle, 2 mana spell, deal 2 damage to a minion if it's frozen, draw a card, probably to replace Ice Block and other epics that have rotated out for mage. And then we have another mage spell that's a common, a 1 mana called Tomb of Intellect. Add a random mage spell to your hand. We have a warlock card called Call of the Void, which is also 1 mana. Add a random demon to your hand. And then we also have Pilfer, which is a 1 mana rogue card that says add a random card to your hand from your opponent's class. They're not the most greatest classic cards for the replacements that they probably replaced, but from what they said in interviews and stuff like that, they said that classic set should be a set of cards that are very straightforward and don't introduce any kind of complicated mechanics and kind of set a base tone of what the evergreen set is. So, pretty easy, pretty basic and generic cards. I don't think they're meta defining or anything like that, but you guys can go craft these cards for somewhat cheap if you wanted to craft them all right now. And then next up, the Rastakan's Rumble pre-orders are now within the Hearthstone client itself. Previously on the last episode, I did mention that you could pre-order them, and while that was true, you had to do it through the battle.net desktop app through the shop tab, but now you're able to pre-order the Rastakan Rumble bundles within the game itself, which includes mobile and iPad. Keep in mind that there's probably a lot of deals out there for you to be able to get those pre-orders, including Amazon Coin, which usually gives you a pretty hefty discount if you're a first-time purchaser. In my opinion, I've already pre-ordered, but in my opinion, what I would do is probably wait. You have until basically, I believe, December 3rd, so like the day before the expansion comes out, to pre-order these bundles. And because of that, I would just wait and see if you think that what you think of the new cards, etc., etc. And if you guys don't pre-order, remember that you do get a free legendary, a couple of rares, and I believe 6 packs of the new expansion once it comes out. So 2 bundles this time around. The prices that are being shown on screen right now are a little out of date, or not out of date, but wrong, because the person who screenshot was from Canada. But it's actually $17.99 in the United States for, $20, I believe, in the United States. Get 17 packs and the card back. For $49.99, you will get 50 packs. The new Shaman Hero, which is available as of this recording, called King Rastakan. And that's just a cosmetic hero. It's not a card that you can actually play. It just replaces your current Shaman Hero. And then also the card back as well. You can also, if you're a big spender, buy both bundles to get a combined total of 67 cards or whatever. If you want to do that. Beyond that, we just had some simple, I guess, like patch fixes and bug fixes and interaction fixes as well. Nothing really to highlight or point out. with the bug fixes or whatever. It's not like it will change anything drastically with the gameplay of the game. One of the things I did want to mention, though, is they did download improvements. From the official patch notes, it says, we've continued making improvements to the mobile Hearthstone app. The option to download via cellular data is no longer saved between sessions. You'll be prompted to provide permission when new data needs to be downloaded. To improve performance, downloads are now paused while in a match, and then phones now use lighter weight card art to reduce the app size. So because of that, hopefully the mobile Hearthstone experience is a bit better. I don't really play Hearthstone on mobile, but I know that there's a lot of people who end up doing that and playing only on mobile as well. So I'm glad to see that the app size is reduced. For me, I don't know if it's the type of phones I get or whatever, but I've always had plenty of space to download Hearthstone, and it has never really been an issue. But it is one of the things that is probably good for the game in general. So next up, kind of talking about the patch notes. I kind of wanted to mention this one, but Hearthstone did hit 100 million players within the last week. They came out with this announcement. They have a little cute video that mentions, thank you for 100 million players. Keep in mind that's 100 million registered accounts. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all playing at the same time or that there's anything even remotely close to that. One of the things that I thought was interesting in this video, though, is that if you go to around 48 seconds within the video, and I thought this kind of cracks me up, there's just a dude that, they're in front of a fountain in the video, and they're just thank you so much, and they're all clapping and stuff like that. But I think is funny is that to the left of the screen, there's just this dude with long hair who just is not excited at all and barely claps and whatever, and he just looks so upset. And it's just funny that they didn't catch that, or maybe that was I don't know, they wanted to keep that in. I just thought that was really funny that this dude is just let me get back to work. So, but anyway, because of 100 million players in Hearthstone to date, they are launching a special in-game event that goes from pretty much it started yesterday, Wednesday the 7th, and this will only go until Sunday the 11th. So keep that in mind as well, that you need to log into Hearthstone before Sunday to get these rewards. But you will be given 6 Boomsday packs, which is pretty cool. And then you will also be getting a quest where you're able to challenge a friend on your friends list for 100 gold up to 5 times, so up to 500 gold. Keep in mind that you just need to log in before November 11th. You do not need to complete the quest before November 11th, but it's 6 packs and 500 gold, so keep that in mind. Hopefully you guys pull some pretty good stuff. I was not able to pull anything super, super good, unfortunately, so rip me, I guess. But reminder, just remember to log in, and hopefully you guys get some good stuff. Next up, this is kind of a silent update that ended up happening, and I guess a lot of people have been memeing about this on the Reddit and stuff as well, and I guess it's silent because it's not actually mentioned in the Hearthstone patch notes, but they did change the way that you can open packs, and it does seem to be a little bit more convenient. On mobile now, at least, what ends up happening is when you open a pack, if you just slide from left to right or scroll left to right, it will automatically flip over all the cards, so you will not need to slide and press every card. While on desktop, there's always been 2 ways to open cards. You can click and drag the pack and open it, and it would and then you would click each of the cards and they would reveal over. Or you could hit spacebar, which really all it did for you was save some time from dragging and dropping. But now when you hit spacebar on Hearthstone on the desktop, it will open the pack and then automatically flip all the cards for you in what I see as a random order, at least from the video that was shown off on Reddit. So maybe opens packs, check out how it goes, but that's going to save me a ton of time when it comes to opening packs up on launch day as well. So pretty cool little update. Thanks Hearthstone for that. I guess the technology is finally there for us to be able to do that or whatever. So next up, and this is an article that I found pretty cool, and some complaints that I had earlier about it are kind of squelched. But there is a pre-release for Rostacon's Rumble. If you guys didn't know, back in Boomsday Project, the current expansion we're in, they had a pre-release party then as well, but it was only in select areas, I believe, in the United States, Canada, and Europe, and I believe South America, but there was not many locations. I was fortunate enough to have one of the pre-release locations near me, but it seems that was just something to try out to see how popular it would be and how hyped it would be. And it does seem like they are loosening the restrictions on how you will open up your packs as well. So if you guys have never been to a pre-release, I've done some for Magic, but what ends up happening is you basically go there and you're able to open up a certain set of amount of packs of the newest expansion and then play games against everyone. And usually the games are themed around just that expansion set as well. So usually we play some drafted or something else like that. So same concept in Hearthstone, just it's digital. So you can open your packs early by attending a pre-release party prior to the full release date of Rostacon's Rumble on December 4th. Pretty much the way they're going to do it this time around, though, is you need to go and apply for a fireside gathering on their website. You can make your fireside gathering public, so I'm sure that a lot of LAN centers around you or other inns around you will have public pre-release parties, but you can also now have the possibility of choosing one that's unlisted, which I kind of like as well, which maybe I'll do that so I can open my packs a little bit early, which I thought was cool. But you can also make it unlisted, so just your friends and family can open packs up or whatever, and you need to opt in for the public event. So if you want to open your packs early, you can just make an unlisted thing, get your friends over and play together and just kind of hang out. There are some stipulations and rules, though, when it comes to this fireside thing. You will only be able to open up your pre-order packs. So at most, you're going to be opening up, 67 if you bought both. But the least you're going to be able to open is 17 packs. So I believe you can still purchase packs during these pre-release parties as well. So if you decide to open 17, you decide to open more, you can do that as well. So only those packs, and they will also, the cards will only be able to be used within your fireside gathering. So that's why they want you to either host a public one or have an unlisted one. But it seems that right after you leave the area or the Wi-Fi or whatever, it will most likely go away and you won't be able to use them. There's going to be a couple of cool new, I guess, special brawls that are going to be at your firesides, but one is called Rostacon's No Cards Bard Brawl. It says you'll be able to construct decks using the cards that you open during the pre-release event. There are no restrictions on class or duplicates in this one, so you can harness all the mayhem of the Gurabashi arena. And then there's also another one called Royal Recipe, a pre-constructed brawl that will have a new deck recipe from the upcoming set for you to play with. You won't need to have pre-purchased packs in order to play this brawl. So literally just the deck recipes that are in the collection, you'll be able to play against someone else with it. I see a lot of benefits for this. I like that they went and made it a more public thing, because I know a big complaint last time was that, hey, there's no fireside gathering around here. I believe there's like 1 or 2 on the West Coast last year, our last expansion, and it was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. And I think it's smart because you know that a lot of people are going to make YouTube content as well as play against their friends or play against themselves even, because they're just gonna, I can imagine some of the top streamers literally just making a fireside gathering at their home unlisted and then being able to, open packs up. So I think that's pretty smart of them to do, to make it go this way. Hopefully it goes really, really well. Hopefully people read the rules and follow the rules, because I know there's always been a lot of controversy with fireside brawls, especially when Nemzi was announced and released. There was so many issues with that, where people were just putting like their workplace or their personal address, or they were listing fireside gatherings that didn't even, like addresses that didn't even exist, that somehow got approved by Blizzard, and people were like showing up and like literally no one was there, and they were just like making the addresses so they could like get Nemzi themselves. So hopefully Blizzard gets their act together with these fireside gatherings. But either way, pretty cool little thing. These release things, and this will probably be something going forward with Hearthstone that really helps the fireside community, and is probably going to be just a staple formality that ends up happening. Next up, we do have an article from PC Gamer, which is kind of ironic. If you guys didn't know, PC Gamer accidentally released the details of Rostacon's Rumble about 10 minutes before the BlizzCon announcement happened on accident. They just somehow published the article early. I'm not really sure how, but they have an interview with the Hearthstone's new boss. If you guys didn't know or didn't hear, I believe it was before this podcast was created, but Ben Brode actually retired or resigned from Blizzard on good terms. I believe he took a handful of people from the Hearthstone team as well. I think one of the lead artists, Yang Wu, as well, and a couple others, and he went and made his own company called Second Dinner. And so he is no longer the creative director or game director, whatever you want to call him, of Hearthstone, obviously. It's been a while, and they haven't really talked to anyone or mentioned who the new creative director was, but I guess it is a man by the name of Ben Thompson, who used to be one of the lead art directors and balance tuners or something within the Hearthstone team. The interesting thing is that when Ben Brode left, he left around the Witchwood meta, but from what we know from public interviews and stuff, they're always about they're around roughly 3 expansions ahead, because he had an interview during the Witchwood. He basically said that Boomsday Project was in was pretty much like good to go. The one after Boomsday Project, which we now know is like Rostacon's Rumble, was in final design changes, and then the first expansion for 2019 was in initial design stages. So, to be fair, because there were so many expansions ahead, I would assume, and most of the community assumes, that Ben Brode still had his hand in Rostacon's Rumble, as well as had his hand on the next Hearthstone expansion after that. So keep that in mind as well, that even though there is a new boss, I think card design and direction is still going to feel a little bit Ben Brode-esque. But I'm hoping that this new guy, Ben Thompson, pushes Hearthstone forward into a good direction. So yeah, pretty much the article is pretty basic. It just mentions and rehashes pretty much what was announced in BlizzCon. A good read if you don't want to listen to the last episode. But he does say some stuff that he is confident in basically Hearthstone going forward. He's confident in what is going to end up happening in Hearthstone, and that he likes the fact that they will soon be going in a direction that is opposite or different, I guess, from what Ben Brode wanted the company to be, which I find always really smart for a company to do. I take Disney as a big example, where for a long time it was always like, what would Walt Disney do? What would Walt Disney do? And they finally took the company in a new direction, and that, I think, helped with some of their success, if not most of it. So it's interesting. Another thing that's kind of interesting too as well, that is mentioned in the article, but it doesn't seem like they're really worrying about it that much, is that Artifact is coming out very soon. If you guys don't know what Artifact is, it is Steam's version of a card game, which looks pretty complicated, actually. It doesn't look like it's trying to capture the Hearthstone market, but maybe capture a market that really likes Magic. Richard Garfield, the guy who basically created Magic the Gathering, is the guy who helped create this game, and it's coming to Steam on November 28th, 2018. So this month, basically, it's coming out, and Hearthstone comes out December 4th, right? So, I mean, this will be really interesting to see how this ends up happening with Artifact and stuff. So there's a lot of competition going around. We'll see. There's some good things and bad things about Artifact, which we might talk about in later episodes down the road once Artifact comes out, because I will be dabbling in it as well. So, yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with that as well, seeing how that game affects Hearthstone. But yeah, check out the article. Ben Thompson seems like a pretty well-adjusted, smart dude. And it will be interesting to see the direction of Hearthstone and the state of it really in, a year or so. Last up, we do have a card announcement finally. I'm going to keep these card announcements to basically the end of the podcast. So let me know through Twitter or other means what you guys think about that. But they did come out with a video on YouTube called Rostacon's Rumble Ticket to Greatness. Once again, it's one of those videos, and not to knock whoever made the video, I apologize, but it's one of those videos that's just made in like Flash. Is like a really well put together video, but just I don't know, it's very, very odd. But they did this with Boomsday Project, last expansion, and it's like a little cute little video that kind of talks about something, and then something happens in it, and then they show off a new card in the video or whatever. So this card is a 3-mana paladin spell called Timeout. It's of common rarity, and it has a card text that reads, your hero is immune until your next turn. Your hero is immune until your next turn. I mean, right off the bat, it looks like a pretty decent card for 3 mana. I think, yeah, I mean, there's not really much I could say about it. If we look at the discussion about this card and like what is going on about this card or whatever, people are basically saying that it's like an ice block but less OP, I guess, or whatever. It doesn't trigger automatically, it just ends up happening or whatever, but it will be interesting to see how this card fits into the meta. Like I've said for the last couple of episodes, though, it's really hard to see where the meta is going since we have such a limited amount of pool of cards, though. So that card is out. Go check that out in the episode description below if you want like card artwork and like card art for like all that type of stuff as well. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it for this episode of This Week in Hearthstone. Thank you guys so much for coming out and stuff. Like I said at the top of the episode, if you guys want to know more about Rostacon's Rumble, you can always go to playhearthstone.com, but you can also go to the previous episode and check that out as well, since that was the episode I dived into all of the Hearthstone announcements for Rostacon's Rumble, talked about the single player campaign, did a card review on the earlier cards as well. Anyway, though, guys, you can always follow me on Twitch, Twitter, or Instagram at Ryan Kubo. That's RyanKubo. All one word, all lowercase. You can also follow me on YouTube, which is Shigeos Twitch TV. That's SHIGEOS Twitch TV. And if you just want updates on this podcast as well, when episodes are coming out, delays in episode, extra episodes, etc., you can always follow me on Twitter at TWI Hearthstone, This Week in Hearthstone as well. But yeah, that does it, guys, for episode 6. Hopefully we get some card reviews next week. And yeah, I'll be looking forward and hyped about that for sure. So until then, guys, I will see you next episode / next week. Take care, guys. Peace.